Special. Countdown to the midterms you decide 2014. Here's Steve Malzberg in New York.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and joining us once again on our panel is John Funn, Newsmax contributor, columnist at National Review, and co-author of Obama's Enforcer, who we will talk about momentarily. Hank Sheinkopf, Newsmax analyst and Democratic strategist, and Rick Ungar, co-host of Steele and Ungar, Democratic analyst and senior political analyst at Forbes. And we, no surprise, the projection is now in that in West Virginia, Republicans pick up another seat. Shelley Capito from it was a Democratic seat, and now she
That's
will
the
be
first Democratic seat of the night to fall.
Yes, and she will be the new senator from the state of West Virginia. In addition, Mitch McConnell earlier was declared or projected to be the winner in Kentucky, and on the governor's side, South Carolina, Nikki Haley. I want you gentlemen to hear something that Joe Biden said, which I don't know how it'll resonate in the Kansas race with Senator Roberts, but he was talking about the independent candidate running against Roberts and said quite bluntly that he thinks they're going to have a senator who's going to caucus with the Democrats, and of course the independent senator didn't like it. Let's listen to Joe Biden.
I think we win Alaska, which the pundits are saying we lose. I think we win North Carolina. I think which is a tough race. I think we win New Hampshire. In fact, I'm
yeah, that one looks pretty solid.
We win New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And I think we have a chance of picking up an independent who will be with us in the state of Kansas.
All right, so Mr. Orman didn't take to that too kindly, certainly, Rick, and I don't know, like I said, if it'll hurt, but Roberts was quick to go out and say, see, he is going to caucus with the Democrats.
Listen, Orman has done an absolutely masterful job of playing this issue. He has never let on which way he'll go. We all know who he's going to caucus with if he wins. So, I can understand why he'd be a little irritated. I suspect tomorrow he'll be a little less irritated about it.
Because he won't be a senator.
No, I think he probably will
That's what I was going to say. You're so sure?
I think he probably will be in that case.
The exit polls say you're wrong.
Is that right?
Well, what do the exit polls show? They show that
They show Roberts ahead.
What about it, Hank? What's your take on that one?
Oh, sure,
Joe Biden didn't do anybody any favors. That's what my take is on it.
Does he ever?
No, he didn't do any
Does
favors.
he ever
here.
do anyone any favors?
It's just,
Good
there's
man,
a time.
Joe Biden.
There's a time to stop talking, and the time to stop talking is when you're in the barrel being shot at.
All right, let me ask. We have another. Okay, the Chris campaign down in Florida, big race for governor, which we have not talked about. Early polls. I don't know if you have exit poll information on that, John. If you
Dead even.
Dead even.
tie.
Okay, so that's going to be very interesting. And the Chris campaign filed an emergency motion with the Circuit Court for the 17th Judicial Circuit to extend voting hours in Broward County for 2 hours. I guess citing some irregularities. So we'll see.
What we're going to see over and over is this is going to be an election fought not by the margin of error, but by the margin of litigation. Absolutely. In Connecticut,
Yes.
we just saw the Democratic governor march in and demand that a whole bunch of polling stations be kept open. The judge denied the motion. Here's the reason why. He said, no, there is an ID law in Connecticut, and if you don't have your ID or you can't vote, you can file a provisional ballot. We'll sort it out later. We don't have to keep the polls open because that violates equal protection. You'd have some polls closing early, some polls closing late. So this is once again an indication that the fears about voter ID are overblown, because in this case, they allowed a judge to say,
No.
we'll have a way of sorting this out later.
Yeah. All right.
But who would have thought this could happen in Florida?
Yeah,
Florida.
nothing ever happens in
Nothing
Florida.
ever happens
Somebody
in
get
Florida.
Kendall coffee. All right, let me ask you, John. Eric Holder. He is sending poll watchers to 18 states. Of course, you wrote the book on Eric Holder.
I'm glad Eric Holder is sending poll watchers. The Justice Department has a role in making sure that the elections are fought freely and fairly, and there's no intimidation, there's absolutely no coercion. But in previous years, previous attorney generals under both parties have sent in monitors for the self-proclaimed reason of making sure there's no intimidation, there is no blockage of the vote, there is no misuse of bilingual ballots, and that there will be no fraud. Eric Holder's press release lists all of the other reasons, but does not list any possibility that there could be fraud. I call it selective monitoring.
Well, and of course, it was the Eric Holder Hank Justice Department that dismissed the charges against the Black Panther, who was at the polls in Philadelphia during the '08 election, who had the Billy Club or whatever, and started telling allegedly white people to go home.
Not a good use of the law.
No.
Not a good use of the law. Use it, stop
it's
it.
election night. Let's not use it to trash the administration.
I'm not trashing anybody.
We're
I
not
believe
trashing
it.
you.
I
Hank
believe
is
Election night.
Hank is saying animal spirits should be curbed on election.
I think that using a club to saying to people, by the way, I have a club, vote the way I want, is not necessarily democratic practice.
Or even a Republican way.
You shouldn't do it. That's not the way you do it.
All right, so it's been interesting so far, folks, and as we said, and we're going to be here, I want to point out to all of you, we're going to be here throughout the night. Newsmax coverage. We're just beginning with this show. We're going to have expert commentary from not only the panel here, but also from Dick Morris throughout the night. We're going to send it down to Florida at the top of the hour to our election headquarters down there, and we're going to